What a moment for Halifax Rugby League.
Austin is through and Warrington dominating. Great try for the Robins. Huddersfield Giants take the points home. It's Vincent! It's a poor lad. He's got sensational try.
Look out with a drop goal. Leeds gather round in jubilation.
He's hit the post. It's Wellesby. Wellesby might have got the try. St Helens are champions once again.
Hello and welcome to the last tackle. What a week of rugby league we've just had, and this week it is the rivals round. Wigan versus St Helens on Friday night. I'm delighted to welcome for many the voice of rugby league, Eddie Hemmings. Eddie, how you doing?
I'm very well, Mark. Are you surviving the ride at the moment?
Yeah, no, look, very, very well, and especially looking forward to Friday night. Wigan versus St Helens.
Absolutely. Well, it's one of the premier fixtures of any season, Wigan Saints, isn't it? It's a place where careers come to an end, both on the field and in the commentary box. April 2019. But no, I mean, a fantastic occasion and some wonderful fixtures around it. I mean, I know they're calling it the rivals round. Warrington Catalan, well, they're not quite local derbies, are they, those two? But, you know, local rivals. But Hull KR.
That's 3 o'clock on Saturday, live on Sky.
That'll be fantastic. And hopefully, Mossy will bring the ball in that everybody walked around the country and around the NRL grounds for as well. So that will come to an end. As I say, the whole derby, always a blue ribboned event as well. Great games coming up this weekend. Steve actually said this morning on the podcast, he has got his mojo back. He would love to be picking the microphone up again. And then I think
it's a good week. Look, it's been tough, hasn't it?
It has, absolutely.
All going on and COVID
absolutely.
Postponements, but this is a good week to look forward to.
It's a great week to look forward to. And please, if you're watching this right now, go to the games, because it was fantastic to see the Premier League coming back this week and the full house notices everywhere. What has saddened me more than anything else over the past couple of weeks is as the game has been given back to the public have sort of put their hands up. We've seen swathes and swathes of empty seats and chairs and places on the terraces in Rugby League. I'm sure people haven't fallen out of love with the game. I think they're probably still just a little bit wary, but this is the weekend now to get out, get and get into the grounds and make it a spectacle again.
Yeah, well, talking about a spectacle, we had a fantastic one at the weekend. It was the Betfred Wheelchair Challenge Cup final, and Leeds came out on top, and it was a star performance from Tom Halliwell.
Continues relentless stuff here in the Wheelchair Challenge Cup final as Halliwell has got the try at the side of the post. Can Leeds go back to back here? Collins wants the ball in front of the post. He's going to kick for the corner for Halliwell. Great catch. Oh, it's a brilliant try. Halliwell 2 in 2 minutes. And we'll play it now. And Leeds are on a bit of a roll here. These are big moments. Halliwell races through. He's going for the hat-trick and he will come round and score underneath the post. Last one, what have they got? Halliwell, oh, the dummy and he's in. 4th try of the afternoon for Tom Halliwell. Last one here. Have Leeds got another try in them? Halliwell going out wide, dummies to kick, and it is over. Halliwell's 5th try of the final. This is the main moment as James Simpson of the Leeds Rhinos comes forward to collect that lovely new Betfred Challenge Cup final trophy. He'll take it across to his team and the celebrations will begin here in Sheffield. It's the Leeds Rhinos. They've done it again. Back-to-back Wheelchair Challenge Cup final winners. The Leeds Rhinos celebrate 10 tries. A wonderful performance. A brilliant final. And it's the Rhinos who've taken the trophy. And so they should enjoy their moment. Each and every one of them have contributed today.
Felt so good the first time, might as well get it twice, haven't we? This is one that seems to get away with us for so long. I mean, we've won the grand final before, and we've won the Challenge Cup in 2019 after years and years of wait, and this is the one that seems to feel special. The Challenge Cup's a special cup, and to go back to back is unbelievable. It's it's a great feeling, unbelievable feeling. It's been an emotional few months. I mean, obviously, lost a loved one early on in the year, and I just put all my focus in this. He loved rugby, he loved what I did, and I just put all my focus in this, and this is what he would have wanted, and this is all for him up there. So all this hard work, all this just reward is paying off now.
There we are, and look, congratulations to the Leeds Rhinos. It's finished 60-28 against the Argonauts, and it was brilliant exposure for the game as well. It's really exciting game because it was live on the BBC Sports website as well.
Fantastic. I mean, this is a wonderful sport that embraces everybody at all levels, from the elite level through the Championship, through League One, down to the community games, through the amateurs, to the women, and to the wheelchair. The big regret about the decision of the World Cup is that you just don't know what problems that will give, particularly the women's game and the wheelchair game. Let's hope that they all survive, and with sponsorship like we get from Betfred, I'm sure that they will, because finance is key. But brilliant. I mean, as I say, it embraces every level, and even though, you know, they are in wheelchairs and they are scoring tries and they are, you know, they're being patted on the back by their opposition.
It's an inclusive game.
It's such an inclusive game. It really is. And it brings such delight to people who play it and to people who watch it. Just fantastic.
Right, well, you mentioned the World Cup. I've not seen you since we got the definite decision. Let's deal with the good news. At least it's on.
Yes.
All right, I know it's a year late, because we're really looking forward to it, weren't we? At least it's on.
It is, and I think we all agree that you couldn't have a World Cup without Australia and New Zealand. I just think it's a little bit of a strange decision from the NRL clubs. You know, India are up here now playing Test cricket. There was the Olympic Games, and Australia sent 500-600 athletes and coaches to the Olympic Games. They're doing the same in the Paralympics.
Australian Rugby Union team.
The Wallabies are coming up here. The England cricket team's going down there, all around about the same time. Why have they pulled the pin on it? Why have they said they're not going to come? Is it just purely and simply because they've got a 6-week holiday that they have to give their players? I'm sure the players, if you ask them, I'm convinced the players, if you ask them, would say, we will come what may. Because, you know, Clint Newton, who heads the Players Association in Australia, said the players are desperate to play in the World Cup. Nobody officially, I think, has asked the players. The players haven't had a voice other than through Clint Newton. They should be coming. We should be having the World Cup this year. Next year, it's going to be swamped. I'm sorry. There's a FIFA World Cup happening next year, around about the same time. The Rugby League World Cup could be absolutely swamped by all the publicity for that, obviously. So they should be coming. They haven't done irreparable damage to the game in this country, but they've had a good go at it. They really have. And their insular attitude, I know the state of origin is important. I know the NRL to them is important, just as important as our Super League is. But this is the international game. This is a World Cup, not just involving England, New Zealand and Australia, but all the other nations that were going to come and play as well. It's a shocking decision, and a lot of people are really, really upset about it. But you're right. It's on next year. We will embrace it. We will love what we see. Yeah. I just hope the general public get to see it as well.
It was just throughout these tough few months, and it feels like we really have turned a corner now. There might be a couple more bumps in the road. It felt like end of this season, Rugby League World Cup, give the game a huge boost. And now what you say, I mean, obviously we're waiting on timings, but there is a Football World Cup next year.
And believe me, the NRL will not alter its domestic season to make sure they get up here a little bit earlier. I'm convinced about that, unless they start in January. And if they start in January, they're going to sort of shoot themselves in the foot, because if they're going to start in January, they've messed around with the start of the season, their players aren't going to get the 6 weeks off anyway. It was a complete and utter mess. But yes, it's on. And as I say, we will certainly embrace it. We will love going to the matches and watching it. And fingers crossed, you know, England will do well. England will do. I'm sure there is one man in particular, unless all the rumours you hear about Sean going back to Wigan come true. Sean Wayne, he's had one game in 2.5 years, you know, and he's had a few training sessions with his players. He will be desperate to coach England in that World Cup, and I just hope that he does.
Yeah, so the World Cup will be played, but in 2022. Unfortunately, we're the official partner of the England team, not just the men's, the women's, and the wheelchair as well. And we've just extended our deal for the Betfred Challenge Cup. We're going to do 2 more years, at least 2 more years. Watch this. So at least 2 more years of the Betfred Challenge Cup. That's for the men's, the women's and the wheelchair. But next year only, it's going to be at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And for the first time since 2004, it's going to be back in May as well.
Yeah, I think that's the place for it. I mean, it does have the repercussions of what's going to happen to the Magic Weekend, because when the Challenge Cup was moved to August, at the behest, by the way, of the broadcaster, and they got the game to agree with it, we all said, well, hang on, what are we going to do in May? Well, we got a spring festival in May. We had the Magic Weekend. It was fantastic. And then we had the Challenge Cup, and then we had the Grand Final. I always thought the Challenge Cup and Grand Final were too close together at the end of the season, particularly if the same 2 clubs got to both events. You had to then go into the pockets of the supporters. It was 2 big days out. But the Grand Final didn't suffer, and once they got back to Wembley, neither did the Challenge Cup. The Wembley weekend is what it's all about. It's in London. It's at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which is fabulous.
Look, Wembley is what it's all about.
Yeah.
Plenty of people who I've spoken to are really looking forward to it because they want to go to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium as well.
It looks a fantastic ground, doesn't it? I saw it on well, we've seen it all the way through, haven't we, since the Tottenham moved in there. But on the weekend when Tottenham played Man City, packed to the rafters, it looked a fantastic stadium, wonderful atmosphere. And people tell me it is the best stadium in the country. I think it's the 3rd largest in the country, football stadium. They've spent millions on it. Apparently in the roof of where the seats are, there are television monitors, big television monitors, so you can actually see what's going on, because it's a high view looking down, but you can get a proper view of what's going on if you can't, quite make out what's happening on the pitch. Great venue. Thankfully, it's coming back to Wembley in 2023.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing.
This is 1 year only.
1 year only.
And this is, beyond their control. There's that many events that need to take place at Wembley.
Exactly, and I think there wasn't a space in May. No. The BBC want it in May now, so it has moved to White Hart Lane, as it used to be, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium as is now.
Whatever it's called now.
That'll do. For 1 year only, but then we're back at Wembley. So, good on it.
Me and you were lucky enough to be there for the Challenge Cup final. And it was a great occasion, a great day, great to have the crowd there as well. And we're very proud to extend our sponsorship for at least 2 more years.
Fantastic.
And again, we're not just doing the men's, we're doing the women's and the wheelchair, like we've just seen.
Very much so, yeah. And I mean, look, I'm not here to blow smoke, but Betfred are fantastic sponsors for the game across the board.
Fred mentioned it on the Saturday night after the Saints Cast game. He said, "How long we got left on this?" And then we said, well, we've just come in for 1 year to help out. And he said, go and do something.
And it was done. The deal was done. Well, fantastic support, And Fred was there at Wembley. Had the privilege of talking to him, in the main suite. And I think he's become a rugby league fanatic. I really do.
Yeah, he loves it.
He's a genuine guy who loves his sport, loves the rugby league, and he always says, and everyone who deals with Rugby League, Super League, they always say the people who run the game are a pleasure to deal with. Well, believe me, I'm sure that is reciprocated back. I'm sure the game think that you and Betfred and Fred himself are a pleasure to deal with, because without sponsors, the game's in bother.
Well, let's turn our attention to the Betfred Super League. We saw a history last week after a 30-year wait. Castleford finally won at St Helens.
Wormsley plays the ball. Roby. Here is Coops, and Jack Wellesby is in for the first in there as well. Watts plays the ball 10 metres out. Here is Richardson once more. Eccles is looping round, and Eccles is brought down, and then they get the pass away to Eden. Now McShane. Oliver Holmes, and Holmes finds a gap, and Holmes is clear. Oliver Holmes Managing to offload to Richardson. Richardson across the park. Still running Danny Richardson. A booming pass from Richardson to Darrell Alfords. But Saints had numbered up and had come back in field. Now Alfords almost finding a way through. The referee has stopped the clock. There's a player down on this side.
Helens is down.
Golden boot winner.
Oh, wow.
He's going. He's going.
It takes that extra
Quick
step
charge from
forward.
Walmsley. Walmsley is over. Walmsley took matters into his own hands there. Jack Wellesby try. But he's on target with that. Richardson down low that time. On the last. It's Lomax. Lomax for Coote. Oh, it's intercepted by Eden. It's intercepted by Eden. Go Eden, say the Castleford bench. Greg Eden with a race on his hands. And Lewis Dodd is chasing him down, but Eden will get there. He's second of the night. Darryl Powell celebrates.
That's what it's all about. I love that celebration from Darryl Powell there. And look, a bit of revenge for the Challenge Cup final.
Absolutely, and as you say, the first win in Super League at St Helens, the first win in 31 years at St Helens for Castleford. Darryl had the game plan absolutely right. Greg Eden, massive gamble, that interception. If he missed it, they're in with a kick to come, all square kick to come. As it is, he picked it up and away he went and could not be caught. I think Warrington have got a nugget next year in Darryl Powell, I really do. And Castleford will obviously miss him, but he's done his stint at the Castleford Tigers, as we have said in the past. But he got the game plan for that absolutely right. How expensive for St Helens, not only to lose ground on Catalan at the top of the table, Tommy Makinson out for 3 games now. Misses the Wigan game. Misses the Wigan game. One of their main strike players. Massive decision.
Let's have a look at the other fixtures very quickly from last week. So, result for Wakefield, of course, Chris Chester left Wakefield, beat Warrington. The Catalan Dragons returned to winning ways, top of the table of the Catalans. News out of Hull, Jake Connor has extended his contract until 2023. Salford did it over their old boss Ian Watson, 18-12. Hull KR, another great result for Hull KR. They are currently in 5th position. Lee, well, it's been a tough season for Lee. Leeds Rhinos ending up top, 46-10. And then we saw on Thursday night Castleford beating St Helens 2010, and we've just seen the highlights there. Right, the pick of the results, and obviously some news that Tommy Luai is going to be out probably for the season with his hamstring as well, so huge blow. Hull KR are now in 5th place.
Yeah, and Neil Hudgell has taken the club off the market. He wants to stay. Maybe he fancies a little walk out at Old Trafford on the 9th of October. Great news for Hull KR that Neil will stay there, because he's been there for a good number of years. They're all talking Hull Kingston Rovers up as possible grand finalists. They will be in the playoffs providing they play the 18 games for the season. I think they're up to 13 at the moment. 14, okay, so they've got 4 more to play. I think the season, before we get to the playoffs, is about 4 or 5 weeks long. They'll be praying there is no more COVID problems for them. Wouldn't it be sad if Hull Kingston Rovers do what they have done and fall short by a match of not being able to go through into the playoffs?
Well, let's hope we're not discussing
and let's hope that is the end of that discussion. But yeah, they're playing some really good stuff, and they're signing play. I mean, the Lachlan Coote signing for next year for them is outstanding. It's a statement of intent, and Neil is obviously putting his money where his mouth is.
And they have now got a derby to look forward to on Saturday at 3 o'clock live on Sky, because it is the Rivals Round.
There is a tingling atmosphere of expectation and excitement.
If there's one fixture that you can't lose, it's this one.
It's Wellesby, Maguire, Kinehorst, the glory for Kinehorst.
Is there space for Johnson in the corner?
Oh my word.
Michael steps back in field and gets over the try line. They're intuitive back play. They're swinging them right and left. What a try this will be if they can do it. They are in. They are in.
Luke Gale's in position. Drop goal from Gale. He's kicked it. Ashton is there. Matty Ashton under the post. Tom Davis. What a try.
He's got it.
He's on target.
He's got it.
What a try from young Donald McIntyre. Lulaway, brilliant and scoring. Here in personal. That's what some fans want to see.
Could be it again here. Darren Alford from Westerville in the forward Castleford man. The pass, Linnett with the strength. It's going to be another try. Halliwell.
Another try for Laura here. Well, this is astonishing play.
There we are, 6 crackers. And look, Eddie touched on it. After this stop-start season, no one's fought because of COVID. I think this is a great week, isn't it, as we get towards the business end of the season.
Almost like an Easter weekend coming in the middle of August, isn't it? You know, Good Friday or Easter Monday, take your pick. As you say, six fantastic matches, 3 great games on Sky. What would we call Warrington Catalan? The Channel Derby? Warrington and Catalan. That is going to be a chance for Warrington
to... They could be meeting each other in the playoffs at some point.
They could indeed. A chance for Warrington to make a point, but more importantly, a chance for Catalan to prove that they are worthy league leaders and could be on the way to Old Trafford. Following night, Wigan Saints. No need to say anything about that. Hull KR Hull, you know, let's say blue ribboned events. Leeds against Huddersfield.
How do you look? Ian Watson be disappointed this season, won't he?
Oh, dreadful. I mean, he will be disappointed. Apparently it takes a wee while for coaches to fit to players and players to fit to coaches. It's not worked for him this year, and I think I'm right in saying Salford have now recorded the Super League double over Ian Watson and Huddersfield. So great for Richard Marshall, disappointing for Ian Watson, that at the wrong end of the table. He will be given the time and probably the money by Ken Davey to resurrect things next year. Hull KR finished 11th, 2020. Look at them now; they're in the playoffs. I wouldn't write the Giants off for 2022. I think Castle Wakey will be interesting. Castle Wakefield, you know, Chris Chester has paid the price. He's the second coach to go. Let me just read you a couple of quotes. Chris changed the club. This is Wakefield. Under his leadership, we played some of our best rugby in 2018-2019. The last 2 years have been difficult because of injuries and COVID. We could easily have asked for postponements, but we played on with weakened sides. Chris has never been able to spend the full salary cap. At times, he must have felt like his hands were tied behind his back as far as coaching is concerned. He will be remembered as a success, a man who always had the club's best interests at heart. That was quotes from the chief executive, Michael Carter, who sacked him. That's one of the best references for a new job.
Yeah, I was very surprised.
I could possibly wish to see. Yeah. You know, 4 games wins this year is not good enough. I accept that. But he has had all sorts of problems. They have, and they've been unlucky on a number of occasions. I remember seeing Chris earlier on, interviewed on television, and once or twice he's looked like a broken man. It wouldn't surprise me if right now, providing Wakefield take care of him financially, and I'm sure that they will, with a testimonial like that he will just be a bit relieved to be out of the firing line for a while, will take a breath, and will come back stronger, bigger and more determined. And hopefully at a club who can pay the full salary cap, who will have a big squad, and we'll see what he really can do. Because those 2 seasons where he finished high in the table, got him into the playoffs, Wakefield, if you say he punched above his weight, he really did in those 2 seasons. He's a good coach, and more importantly, he's a really nice guy.
3 games live on Sky. So Thursday night, Warrington versus the Catalan Dragons. Friday, Wigan versus St Helens. And on Saturday, Hull versus Hull KR. That kicks off at 3 o'clock. So they are your rival round fixtures, with Sunday Lee versus Salford. Right, we're running out of time, Eddie. Come on in. Wigan versus St Helens. It's not on Good Friday, but you know, you commentated on some great games over the years.
Oh, fantastic.
Look, is this when you were a commentator beginning of a week? Is this?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the place obviously is Old Trafford in the grand final. That's the big one. But on Good Friday, Wigan and Saints. I've done a few Hull derbies as well before the Hull supporters start having a go. I've done a few of them, and they're exciting as well. But generally, they were playing in the morning Wigan were playing in the afternoon. I couldn't be in both places at once. So Bill got the gig in Hull, which was fine. And I used to sit back and watch that and enjoy it. And then we did the Wigan Saints, or the Saints. I remember matches at Knowsley Road. I remember Paul Sculthorpe and Andy Farrell trading punches like you would want to.
Boxing.
Oh, it was fantastic. It really was. I mean, it probably wasn't in the current idiom of the way the game is being played now, which a lot of people are saying it's being a little bit sanitised. You can't throw a punch, as so many players know to their cost. But there is never any quarter asked or given. I'm slightly worried for Wigan. You tell me now that Tommy Luluwai probably out for the season. They've struggled with injuries. Their forwards aren't what they used to be. There are a lot of youngsters there. Jackson Hastings playing here, there and everywhere. Full-back. Should he have played hooker when Sam Powell went off over the weekend? I'm not so sure. But they need a playmaker, and Jackson is their playmaker. I know he can chime into the line from full-back. But who's going to win it? Makinson's out for 3, you know. Yeah. So it levels itself up a little bit. But I just think Wigan at the moment are slightly weaker than they have been for some time. Just slightly. Some great players, young players who will benefit by this season. Remember Leeds in 1999? And look what happened. They had the golden generation because they had such adversity that year. The Sinfields, the Burrows, the Maguires were all pushed into action. Jamie Jones-Buchanan. And look what happened in years to come. I'm so impressed with Welsby. I think he's a fantastic player. And Lewis Dodd, no wonder Theo Farge, who has now played his last game for St Helens, is on his way. Because Lewis Dodd is a star of the future. Those two, fantastic. So bring it on. I'm going to love every minute of a bottle of wine on ice, sit down, feet
so
up.
You're not going to miss the commentary
on days like that, yeah. But I just sit now and shout at the telly. I just shout at Barry and Terry and Bill and everybody else who's doing. That's all I do now. I just shout at the telly. You can't say that. Well, that's what people used to do for me for 30 years. And I'm getting my own back.
Let's just finish on something else. The Rob Burrow documentary made by the BBC Breakfast team as well. Obviously, inspirational story, has been nominated for a National Television Award. So go on their website, get voting for Rob.
Absolutely. And he's the guest of honour at Headingley this weekend. His book, his autobiography, Too Many Reasons to Live, is being launched. Rob is going back to Headingley for the first time since the testimonial match he shared with Jamie Jones-Buchanan. He's a patron of MND, obviously. He's going through a dreadfully, dreadfully difficult time. The man is a legend. The man is an icon of rugby league, you know. And if Leeds supporters need an excuse to go to Headingley on Friday night to watch the game, there it is. There it is. Rob Burrow will be in town for the first time since January 2020. Go and give him the reception that he deserves.
Inspirational,
isn't he? Wasn't he? Isn't he? Absolutely. And battling away now.
Inspiration on the pitch, and look at him, what he's doing off it.
Remember the try scored in the grand final, ducking underneath the St Helens players? Yeah. You know, I'll never forget a magnificent try from Rob Burrow underneath the sticks. Brilliant. Steve-O called him Beep Beep. We all said, what are you talking about, Beep Beep? The Roadrunner. The Roadrunner. He thinks he's like the Roadrunner, so quick, and boom, off he goes. Great guy. A little man, huge heart. Fantastic spirit, courage, epitomises the game. Rob Burrow, MBE now, isn't he? Rob Burrow, MBE, book out on Friday. Go and support him, Leeds fans. Get out there and support him.
And if you've not watched the documentary, it's very, very good,
Oh,
obviously.
Make sure you've got a box of tissues. Yeah. Make sure you've got a box of tissues.
Yeah. Eddie, really enjoyed your company as always.
And you, Mark. Thanks for asking.
Thanks very much for coming in. Thanks very much. So
See
we'll
you
be back next Tuesday. But we're going to leave you with Try of the Week. See you soon.
Hello and welcome to the Our League Try of the Week. I'm Dave Woods. Let's have a look at this week's contenders. First up this week, some absolute brilliant handling by Leeds against Castleford and a fantastic finish by Ash Handley in the corner. Try 2, London against Toulouse. It actually starts with London in possession. Jared Samet with a kick and the chase here, but it bounces nicely for Mark Corella, who turns it into goal dust with this break from fullback right down the field. He's got Eloi Pelissier in support, and in turn it's Jonathan Ford who strides away to score. Try 3, spirited effort by Lee against Holkingston Rovers. Keenan Brand with a break and the pass. Junior Sow with a very powerful finish. This is try 4, and this is Featherstone up against Batley. Batley very close to that Featherstone line until suddenly Dane Chisholm stepped in, and then with no one to beat, it's all about his pace to take him all the way down to the other end of the field. Try 5 sees a game at Butts Park Arena. Coventry the hosts, but it's North Wales Crusaders who are scoring here, and Geordie Gibson who finally gets on the end of this handling move to finish by the side of the sticks. And finally, a game between London Broncos and Bedford Tigers women. And this is Lil Stanton of Bedford. Wonderful turn of pace and surging past the cover. You know what to do. Get voting for your favourite try this week.